Hello there, Cancer. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the week of April the 18th through the 24th. We are going to pull one card per day, and we're going to see what highlights come up for each day, see if a theme actually shows up for the week or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes not. I do want to remind you while I'm shuffling these cards that this is a collective reading. So not everything I see here is going to apply to every single Cancer who watches this video, but most of it will apply to most of you. So let's get some cards on the table. By the way, if you'd like to order a private reading from me, all my contact information is on the website right there above my head. That's the best way to get a hold of me and get a reading scheduled. So let's see what we have, shall we? Cancers. Let's look at your weekend first. We're starting off with the Eight of Wands on Saturday. Very nice, very nice. And we have the moon on Sunday. Mysterious. Okay, so let's look at Saturday a little bit more seriously. Eight of Wands just means that there's a lot of communication going back and forth. Eight of Wands is generally short messages, can be like text messages going back and forth, can be if you're somebody who is in business, and this can sometimes talk about orders coming in and the confirmation going out, that type of thing. This can be, of course, totally in your personal life too, but a lot of messages going back and forth. And when the Eight of Wands shows up, usually there's enough messages you kind of have to stay on your toes to keep up with everything that's being said and what's going on. So that's a very good card. I always take that as a very positive card when there's communication like that. And then on Sunday with our moon card, excuse me, our moon card talks about things happening behind the scenes, things that we're not necessarily aware about. And usually with the moon card, we have something showing up that where we can see that 2 and 2 is not making 4 somehow here. There's missing information. There's a puzzle piece that is not being seen. And so I think that you've got something showing up, a situation in your life where you're realizing there's got to be some missing information here because this doesn't make sense exactly. And so with the moon card coming in like this, I don't know that you necessarily get the answer to what that information is today, even though you might really try. I just don't see it actually floating up just yet, not with this card coming up. Now, later on, the information will show up, and it'll show up without you having to dig for it. But for right now, it's still a mystery. Boom, bada, boom, boo, boo, boo. I want to see what that information has to do with. I'm not going to try and find that exact information because obviously if it's coming up in the spread as, well, we don't really know. But I do want to see what area this has to do with in your life. Cancers. Let's see here. What would that be? I think there's something going on where there's some kind of gift or some kind of visit that's in the works. So to me, this is like, I don't know, Cancers. It's not your birthday season. Somebody is planning some kind of visit, possibly some kind of gift, and you don't know about it yet. That's what we've got going on there. La da 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 da, la da da da. Okay, let's look at the week. Monday, Six of Wands. Very nice, very nice. Tuesday, Queen of Pentacles in reverse. For those of you who have not been to my videos yet, we don't stress out over reversals on my channel. Reversals just mean a little something different than right side up. I know a lot of readers will tell you reversals are all negative. I don't believe that way, and I don't teach that way. I think that they are just different than right side up. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. Let's look at Wednesday. Here we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Once again, don't stress out. We'll talk about these. You'll understand why. Then we have our King of Swords in reverse. And we have the Tower showing up on Friday. Okay, so the Tower was right side up. That's another card that we don't stress out about here. Okay, so let's take a peek, Cancers. Let's go through this one day at a time. Six of Wands on Monday just means that somebody is appreciating, expressing appreciation for something that you've done that not only benefited yourself, but also benefited some other people as well. So somebody's giving you the kudos or the saying, thank you. Very nice, very nice. Yet I think they could be doing it in a little bit of an indirect way too. When I'm checking out this card, this may not be something that is just like right in your face, thank you. They could be just doing something nice, or you'll have to see how that plays out. But I think it's a little more subtle than the average. And then let's see, we're looking at Tuesday. Queen of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Queen of Pentacles in reverse just tells me that you've been very generous with somebody in your life, Cancer. And this generosity could have been with money. It also could have been with time, with energy, with effort, just as easily. And you were generous with this person because you thought your generosity would help them get a leg up. And what you're seeing is that this is not helping them get a leg up. What this is actually doing is helping them to become more dependent on you. And so this just says that you're cutting off that generosity because it's counterproductive. It's setting them back instead of helping them move forward. So I think you're cutting off that generosity on Tuesday. La da da da. Let's look at Wednesday. Wheel of Fortune showing up in reverse. Okay, so I have a different interpretation of Wheel of Fortune than a lot of people do. A lot of people will say, oh, it's luck. Opportunities are falling in your lap when it's right side up. And oh, it's terrible luck when it's upside down. I won't say that. What I will say is that if you're thinking about asking for a promotion or a raise on Wednesday, it's probably not the best day to do that. This is a timing card. And this basically says the time is not right to be looking for expansion right now of any kind. Okay, so you don't want to be proposing. You don't want to be talking to your spouse about the idea of maybe we should have another kid. This is not the day to bring that up. All right. Now, the other thing about this, though, when the wheel comes up in reverse, this means that you are preparing for some opportunities that you're anticipating coming into your life. So, my best example of this is that I used to date this guy who was a landscaper. And what he would do when he didn't have work is he would make sure that his equipment was all cleaned up, fully serviced, top notch, ready to go. That way, when the opportunities came in, he didn't have to have any delays. He could just load everything he needed up on the trailer and head out and do the job. And so that's what this is like when the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse. This is making preparations for the opportunities so that when they show up, then it is like the Wheel of Fortune. We can grab those when it's right side up. We can grab those opportunities and really work with them and make them work for us. But this is kind of the work behind the scenes to make that process more smooth later. So this is doing things like cleaning equipment, like setting up a website, like getting a way to receive payment in place, or any other thing like that. So this is just going to be something that this is just going to be something where you're making preparations on Wednesday for some opportunities that you're expecting to come forward. All right, let's look at Thursday. Thursday, you guys have the King of Swords showing up in reverse. King of Swords in reverse, I really feel like, Cancers, what you're doing Thursday is you have a plan that you've put together around something, and here you're sort of recalibrating that plan. You're making some adjustments to it. This could be, I normally get to school to pick my kid up from basketball practice at such and such a time. Now I'm realizing, oh, I want to be there a little earlier, or I don't really need to be there till a little bit later because they usually go long, whatever. Could be something like that. It could be something more having to do with long-term plans too. But there's some kind of strategy that you have in place. You're making some tweaks to that today. And that day is Thursday when I say today. Now, by the way, guys, notice this is our second reverse card. Was that negative or terrible? No. Okay? We're not going to be afraid of those. Now, looking at Friday. Friday, we have the Tower card. So there's some kind of shakeup going on here on Friday. And I actually want to see what it has to do with. And a shakeup is not always a bad thing. Sometimes we are the instigator of the shakeup. Sometimes the shakeups happen outside of us. But I have seen where we have really just gotten tired of something being the way it is and shaking it up. It's like it can be as simple as I'm deciding to move my furniture around in the house. It can also be as big as there's a big shakeup in authority at the place that I work, and now my boss is no longer my boss and somebody else is. So we're going to see what this tower has to do with in your life. What area of life is that going to be? Hmm. There's going to be some kind of confusion about travel that sort of shakes up some plans that you have, is what I'm going to say. Confusion about travel, or maybe confusion about a vehicle. So if you're getting ready to buy a vehicle, then maybe there's some confusion there that has to be dealt with first. Or if you're taking a trip, there might be some confusion about who's going, when are we leaving, what are we going to do when we get there, some kind of confusion. But it has to do with travel or with a vehicle. So I'm not expecting it to be something earth-shatteringly huge or anything like that. Much better than if it was with like a job or something like that. So, not bad at all, Cancers. Thank you all very much for hanging out with me for your weekly reading. I appreciate y'all so much. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and put a like on this video, maybe even share it with somebody else. Everybody have a fantastic day, fantastic week, I should say. Peace out.